Hey folks, today I'm going to be answering a question that I get asked a lot, and that is how do you get the Fractured Crown? That's a very good helmet for the one-shot mana stacking Sorc setup. I know a lot of people already do have an idea of how to make this. I'll hopefully be sharing some new tricks for you today that might make that process just a little bit easier. Anyway, if you like this sort of thing, please leave a like on the video, and I'll keep making them. I have made quite a few Fractured Crowns already, and the only way that you can acquire this item is through a Rune of Ascendance recipe. So I'll jump over to Last Epoch Tools, and here it explains what you need to do. You can see here, use a Rune of Ascendance on a runed visage that has mana and damage dealt to mana, with a total of 21 affix tiers. That might sound a little bit confusing, but basically what it means is if you add the tier levels of every affix up, it needs to be at least 21, and 2 of those affixes must be mana and damage dealt to mana. This can also include sealed affixes, that's totally fine. This doesn't even need to be an exalted helmet, it can be a rare helmet with sealed, if that takes you to above 21. And even the mana and damage dealt to mana themselves can be sealed. So there's a lot of flexibility that you can do here. You'll want to have a loot filter that will help you do that. So here I have a couple recipes for loot filter. For one of them, I just show any Fractured Crown that already has the 2 affixes I want, mana and damage taken to mana. So you can see the affixes here. These are the ones that you want. Damage dealt to mana before health and mana. And I have another one that just shows me all exalted runed visages. So it's pretty straightforward what you want for filters there. And from there, you can actually do a few tricks for crafting. So just as an example, here we have a tier 6 cold res. So this one already has 12 affix tiers on it. And you might think that this is a little bit hard to craft, but what you can actually do is seal this affix and then still slap on mana and damage taken. So before you do sealing, it's very important that you have 4 affixes on your item. You can see here that the seal chance increases when you have more affixes. So always add the affix first before you do a seal, otherwise you're going to be much more likely to miss that crafting. So here we're going to do mana. This didn't use any FP, that's very good. I could choose to upgrade this to tier 2, which will reduce my chance to seal, but it will make it much easier to get 21 affix tiers. I think because this is already Exalt, I have a fairly good chance, so I'm just going to seal it as tier 1. We only use 3 FP here, that's very good. So far this is a pretty lucky craft. If the affix you're adding at this point doesn't need to be your mana or mana spent, damage taken for mana before health, you can use a Rune of Discovery. So this would add a tier 1 affix in whatever missing slot, and it will not use FP. You can see here adding this is going to use 1 to 18. If you use a Rune of Discovery, this would be 0. So if you need to add a missing suffix, you can use this rune, it'll be much better. So anyway, let's do that. So here we're going to make sure we use our Glyph of Hope. We got very lucky not using any FP, so this is good. We're going to keep adding some tiers. We got a critical success, is very good. So we have 4 and 6 is 10, and then we have 18, 19. So we need 2 more tiers. All right, we need 1 more. And there we go. Let's do a count again. We have 10 here, and 1. This is 21. Slap on a Rune of Ascendance. And there we have our craft. We even got LP. Good stuff. So here we have another example. So this one, we already have a T1 mana, and we have a T6, so we're going to need a lot of tiers to make this work. This is pretty tricky. So how do we want to do this? Well, first, we want to do damage dealt to mana before health, so now we have all of the affixes that we want. Then I think what we want to do is try and go for a seal, because otherwise I'm going to need everything here at T5, which is going to be very hard. So I'm going to try and boost my chances a little bit by going for a seal. I think it's unlikely this craft works, but we're going to go for it anyway and try and get lucky here. Okay, so we get a seal. That's very good. Now we're going to do the trick I mentioned, Rune of Discovery. It's going to consume 0 FP. I don't know why it's saying 1 to 18, but it should be 0. Yeah, so it's 0. Yeah, so now we have our tier. That's really good. And that's going to make it a little bit easier, because without the seal, you need everything else here to be T5. With the seal, we don't need that. So there we go. This is still going to be a little bit tricky. I don't think we're going to make it. So we have 10 here, 16, 18. So we need 3 more. And we brick. This is pretty close, but not quite. We'll try again here. So we have another one with tier 2. This one's going to be very hard to get, but we're going to try it anyway. We only have 38 FPs, not a whole lot to work with. We'll start with adding the affix. Bit of a long shot. I'm going to go for the tier 2 seal here. We get the tier 2 seal. That's good. Now we need to add the mana. We got pretty lucky. Got a critical success, and we added without using FP. Okay, it's pretty good. Always want to up your lowest affixes first, as they consume the less FP. So T4 here is 1 to 24. This is 1 to 18. So that's pretty good. Oh, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. So here we have 11 already. We have 15 here. We have 19, and then this is 21. So this should be another craft. And there it is. We get another one. Very, very bad roll. Wow. This is actually one of the worst rolls I've ever seen. Amazing. Okay, so this was a failure. This one should be easy, but we'll see. So for this one, the only option we have is getting a seal on the vitality, because we already have mana and it's a T7. So we need to do the seal. I could go for the T2, but if I miss that, I probably won't be able to seal it, and then it'll probably fail. So I'm going to start with the T1 here. We only used 3 FP, so that's very good. We're going to go for another one here. Okay, that used a lot of FP. It's pretty bad. So now we're going to hope that we get some critical success here. Okay. All right, let's do a count. So we have 8 here, 12 here, and then 7. Okay, not quite. Not quite. We need 1 more. Let me do a recount here. This is 19, 20. Yeah, we need 1 more. And we missed. So we're off by 1 affix. So you need to do you need to have FP left in order to do the Rune of Ascendance. So we missed. We didn't quite make it, but that is the idea. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.